Mobility gets us to travel far. Tragedies were written in memoirs.
Well, like I said initially, I was in Senegal, and then I go to Mali, Bamako, I go to Niamey, and then from Niamey I went to we went to Burkina Faso, and then from there I go to Agadez. And Agadez we proceed to Druku, there's one island in the desert. From there we get to Libya. The village is a little village called Bahe. And then from Bahe, I went to Sabah. Although Sabah, I did not spend more time because I have 3 weeks in Sabah. Because at that moment there was a war in Sabah between the I forget their tribes, but there is a war between them. And then we did not spend more time because I went there with one of our brothers there, and who organized the trip so that we can move to Tripoli. So that's how I go to Tripoli along the way, and then we encountered little bits of ration, of course, because it was so difficult. After we take a car, there's a pickup, and then we move on to Libya. We have 2 weeks in the desert before we arrived in Libya. And then we have so many difficulties because there is many laborers along the road that you have been paid, you paid the money, and then they will take you from the Libya. But along the way you have many people that are robberies. They just attack you and then ask the money, and sometimes even the driver that pick you people to Libya. He will take you up to, there will be a certain place that, he will be stopped and then ask everybody, you have to pay the money. And if you don't pay the money, he will lift you at the desert, and then you could be died, because many people have lost also their lives. One of my friends I know, we know each other at the road, but he's from Nigeria. And then when we are going, the pickup was going with the speed of our running, and then the boy fell down. We have to knock the car so that the driver can stop, but he did not stop. And then we left the boy at the desert. And from there we get to Tripoli, and Tripoli I was trying to board a boat, to take a boat and then to cross to Italy. Because in Tripoli also, it was a very tough situation when we arrived in Tripoli. Before we get there, we have been kidnapped also in a village called, I did not remember the village, but maybe after I remember in mind. And then we have, they also arrest us. It's a form of kidnapping, because it's like if someone from Roma will pick you here, and then he will take you up to before you enter Fiumicino. You cannot enter. The one from Roma will not enter in Fiumicino. What I see was a very terrible situation. I see so many difficulties when I have left my country, but I just take it as a challenge, of course. But it was very tough. What I see in my around me, it was not something that I was yearning for. It was not something that I was looking for. Of course, it was very terrible situation. Yeah. Yes, when I was in Libya, of course they pay me for where I work. Before I get to that work, I have been working there for because I was there for 3 months, and that's a little village. And then my first work was, there's a place called Chad Plus. We call it Chad Plus. That's a place that, everybody will go and gather somewhere, and the Arab Libyan people will come and ask you, we need someone for the job. And then you climb the car and then go with them. So that's what I did. I went with one man, and then we walked since the morning up to 4 o'clock in the evening. And then when we finished the job, I went to the man. I said, we have finished, so the money. He said, which money? I said, of course, you asked us to work, and then we work, we finish the job. He said, no, there's no money, leave my country, leave my house. I said, no, because to me, it was not normal. I just see it like, even when it's my country, of course, you have to pay me. That's for everywhere. And then he said, no, I will not pay you, and then leave my house. If not, I will shoot you a gun. When he bring the gun, I said, okay. I told my friend, I said, let's go, because he did not want to pay, so I did not come up to that. We the one who worked. And then if he did not want to pay, let's go. It's fine. So it was difficult, during that time, because, sometimes you will see people will come and pick you, and then they will take you to work. At the end, they will not pay you. When you finish the job, they will threaten you with a gun and said, if you don't go, I will shoot you a gun. So you have no choice than to leave their house and go. After that, I have a job for my professional. What I did, that was to sew the clothes. And I with one African boy. He was there for a long time. And he also was doing the same job. So I asked that man, I said, look, I also do this job. Can you help me to work with you? And then he told me, yes, I can help you, I will talk to my boss, and then he will test you and see if you are good, and then he will take you. I said, okay. And when I came, I talked to the man. He saw that, I was good with the job, and he said, okay, I will take you, and then I will pay you. But for that way, that place, of course, they pay me. And I worked there for 4 months with a Libyan man. And then I was there working, but I have a problem, because one day I went to work, and when I was going back home, and they attacked me. They took my phone, they took my money, the all money that I have. And then I have a problem also. And then they took me for kidnapping, I was with them for 3 weeks. And then they asked me to pay more money, but I told them I have no money, because I just came to look something. And then I did not have any money. So they give me a phone to call my people so that they can send me money. And I refused. I said I cannot call anybody because I have no number. They have taken everything from me. So I cannot pay. I was there for those 3 weeks, and then it was difficult, because that 3 weeks, they did not give you any food or water to drink, It was very tough. And then one man came, and then he found me there and asked me, why are you here? I said, well, they kidnapped me. And then he said, okay, but why did they kidnap you? I said, they have taken my money, because I went to work. After, on my way going home, they have collected my money, and they have collected my food. And the money, everything that I have, they have taken. And he said, okay, how long you are here? And then I explained to him. But he's an old man. And then he understands the situation. He said, okay, I will let you go. These people are criminal. Don't let them see you again when after you finish work, you have to go home. Yes, I said, of course, but I am just from work and then go back to home. They kidnapped me. I was here for 3 weeks. And then I go back to where I work. I explained to my boss, and then he also gave me the same advice. You have to be careful, and then because these people are not good. But in that period, they were at that moment, Sabah also there is a war, and then it was very difficult even for them, because they cannot go to Sabah. So what they will do is to attack the people that came in their country, because they don't like to work, and then they just like to rob people and take their money. Sometimes they will even take you to work, and then you work. At the end of the day, they say ask you to go. You cannot ask them your money, because if you ask the money, they might shoot you with a gun, because everybody have the gun. Even the little children, they have their guns, they have knife, everything. So my boss asked me, and I told to my boss, I said, now I don't want to stay here, because it's very dangerous. And then I cannot go back, because to go forward is more better than I go back, because I live danger in back. So I don't know, although what is in my front, but I prefer to go forward than to go back. And he said, okay, I will give you some money if you want to go, and then you can go. He's the one who gave me money then to proceed from Tripoli. Terrible situation. I wish that I could go back to my country, but I was in a place that I cannot move. I cannot go anywhere. So the only thing I can do is to proceed where I am going to. So now, in that way, I decide that I have to go to Italy. And then for that also, to come to Italy, it was a very, very, very difficult situation, because to leave Italy in Libya, when they know you are going to the sea to go to Italy, it's a problem. So only the criminals, those they are armed robbers, I can call them. Those are the ones who will smuggle you to get to the boat, and then you come to Italy. Because when the police saw you, they will arrest you. And that was the first step that I have. When I get there, we went to the main road. You'll be standing, and then the car will come, like it will be 5 people here. They make another 5 people there. They make another 5 people there. So it will be like in a form of, we are looking a job. And when the police saw us, they will know that maybe we are looking for people that will take us to job. And in that way, the car will come and pick that 5 and go maybe 5-10 minutes. He come back and pick another 5. And then he will go for another 5-10, he pick another one, and then he will take them to the connection. So I take the car. And then along the way, when we are going, we go up to the place called Tajura, and then we have been arrested by the police. They said, you are going to the sea, and then you want to go to Italy. We said, no, we are going to work, because they told us that no, when the police arrest us, we said that we are going to job. And then we said, no, we are going to work. No, you are not going to work, because if you are going to work, why will you hide inside the car? And then we have no choice. Then they take us to the barracks, the army barracks. And then when they came, they said we are going to be deported. And they put us for prison. And for there also, I was in prison for 1 month. From there, I have a deportation to Sabah. That was another capital of Sabah. And then I have 1 month again in Sabah. We move to another city called therein. We have also, imprisonment of there. So in total, I have a 3 months imprisonment after that deportation. But from there, I still see I have to go forward, because still I'm from danger, and I came back from danger. So I just have to go back, because that was my desire. I don't want to stay there anytime I can be shot, and then nothing will happen. Because they have been shooting people in front of me, they have shot 2 of my friends, and then nothing happened. Even the Libyans, when they saw you shoot people, they will just look you and then go, because they know you are not a Libyan. You just came there. We take this boat in Tripoli, inside Tripoli. But that was the second trip when I was been deported, and I have to pay back money and then go back to Tripoli. And this second time, when I get to Tripoli, I have spent 2 weeks in the camp. After that 2 weeks, we paid money also to one of agent, and then we take this boat from Tripoli, and then we move to Italy. But we have 2 days. We spend 2 days in the sea. Of course, that one also, it was although nobody died in our boat, but this was very difficult, because the boat was it's a 2 like a deck. So those who are in up, I was in the downs, and there was no windows that you can take a brief like air or something like that. And then all the machine was down, and the fuel also. So it was very difficult. I thought in that moment, now maybe my life has been ended, because I cannot survive. And then we were there for 2 days before the rescue team will come. No drink, no water, no food, no nothing. It was very, very terrible there. We were 450 people. It was 450. It's too much people. So downs, only downs where I was you have 100 people downs, 150 of course. And then the up also you have many people. So the only place that you can have the air to breathe, people will be close to that place. And it was a very fight, between downs, those who are in downs and those who are ups, because they wanted to close. And when they closed that place, we all died, we will all die. So it was a very confusing situation, even that. But so luckily, when we get to the Mediterranean Sea, and then we found a rescue that came to pick us. Those are the Italian, and then they really helped us. Yeah. When I was from the boat, we coasted at Sicilia, Siracusa, and from there, there is one little camp, I think, of course. We were there for 2 days. The following day, we take a little flight, this private flight, taxi, of course, I think. We came to Roma. From there, we go to Molise. I was in Molise. Yeah, well, here the things still is difficult, because I can say the things is okay still. The things is very difficult for now. I can say it's like it's something that will be repeated, into me, in my own view, because still it was very difficult. I was here for 7 years now, and then all we know is to have a proper documents that you can look for job, and then it was very difficult to have that, and still I don't get that. And then I have also a strange thing that is happening to me at this moment that I cannot imagine really. And then I can't say that it was good really. It was tough also. Even here, it's not easy for me. Well, what I was, I believe, and what I found, it is totally different. It's totally different. Of course, I have known many people. They are very good and they are very loyal to me. They have been helpful. They are helping me a lot for so many things. I'm so thankful for them. But the situation still, to me, is not what I was thinking. It was not like that.
All the ups and the downs and the highs and the lows, let's wait until tomorrow. We follow, we grow, no fiction, no lies, no mice, no webs, let's not forget.